What would you do if you discovered that anxiety, that whirlwind that tightens your chest and clouds your thoughts, is also a teacher, carrying messages from the depths of your soul? This video is not like the others. Here you will discover how to turn your fears into beacons that illuminate your inner world. You will learn to let anxiety teach you instead of destroying you. You will learn to breathe as monks do, to observe as sages do, and to free yourself as those do who understand that illness is the language of the soul. A phrase that will echo at key moments of this journey. Today, I will give you a practical, simple, and transformative guide so you can live each day as if nothing could disturb you, like bamboo that bends with the wind but never breaks. Imagine a calm lake at dawn in Australia. The surface is so still that it reflects every cloud in the sky like a perfect mirror. That is how your mind could feel if you learned to manage your anxiety as Buddha did, who taught that our mind is the origin of suffering, but also the path to liberation. Today, together, we will walk that path of serenity, one that will allow you to see anxiety as a passing visitor, not as an invincible enemy. For more than 500 years, Buddha explained that the root of our suffering is not what happens outside. On the contrary, it is the way our mind reacts to what it perceives. It is as if you were wearing dark glasses that tint everything with fear and urgency. Until you recognize them, you remain convinced that the entire world is bleak. Anxiety is that cloud that darkens the blue sky of your consciousness. And the more you fight against it, the denser it becomes. But when you observe it, when you decide to sit with it like a monk, meditating beneath an ancient eucalyptus tree, you begin to see it for what it truly is. A transient emotion that arises, grows, and disappears like all others. An ancient Buddhist story tells that a young disciple asked his teacher, "Master, how can I stop being afraid?" The teacher looked at him in silence, took a bowl of water, and began to stir it with his hand. The ripples distorted the disciple's reflection. Then he withdrew his hand, and the surface calmed, returning a clear reflection. "This is your mind," said the teacher. "When you stir it with fear, you cannot see yourself clearly. But when you leave it in peace, the truth reveals itself on its own. You too can learn to calm the water of your mind. Observe your thoughts. What triggers them? Are they words someone said to you? Memories that resurface, like ghosts? Or expectations you impose on yourself? Anxiety does not arise on its own. It feeds on factors we often do not recognize. Andrew Solomon, a scholar of human suffering, said that anxiety grows in the darkness of silence. That is why the first step to deactivating it is to bring light, identify which thoughts awaken it. When you notice your mind starting to run like a runaway horse, stop for a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, what thought has brought me here? You do not need to judge or fight that thought. Just observe it as if you were watching a cloud in the sky. Clouds are neither good nor bad. They simply exist and change. You can learn to look at your thoughts in the same way. Imagine that your mind is a vast forest in Australia. In that forest, there are paths you have walked so many times that they have become highways. The path of fear, the path of worry, the path of what will happen tomorrow. Each time you choose that path, you make it wider and easier to travel. But you can also open new, more serene and kinder paths with each conscious thought you choose to cultivate. Louise Hay said that every thought we have is creating our future. So when you notice that your anxiety wants to drag you down the old path, make the effort to take a step toward a new one of calm, one where you say to yourself, I am here, I am safe, I am breathing. Anxiety often feels like a tide that pushes you and does not let you breathe. But you are not that tide. You are the entire ocean, immense and deep. The waves of anxiety are only a small part of you. Virginia Woolf wrote that the human mind is capable of the greatest torments, but also of the most serene stillness. When you learn to observe your emotions without becoming them, you regain your freedom. And this, my friend, is not an abstract theory. It is a daily practice. When you feel anxiety, do this, sit down, close your eyes if you wish, and place your attention on your breathing. Do not try to control it. Just observe it as it comes in and goes out. When an anxious thought appears, imagine it is a leaf floating on a river. You are the river, not the leaf. Allow it to float. Watch it drift away and return to your breathing. In your daily life, perhaps while standing in line at a bank in Australia or waiting for an important message, anxiety may suddenly arise. In those moments, the wisdom of Buddha reminds you what you experience is not absolute reality, but your interpretation of it. The anxious mind projects shadows where there are none. Marian Rojas points out that when we live in constant anticipation of danger, we release hormones that harm us. That is why training the mind to return to the present is essential, not only for your peace, but also for your physical health. Remember, anxiety is not your enemy, it is a messenger. And like all messengers, when you listen to the message, it stops shouting. There are moments when anxiety turns into physical symptoms, a knot in the stomach, headaches, insomnia. It is there that the phrase, "What do I want to give you?" gains strength. Illness is the language of the soul. This phrase, repeated in different forms by many great therapists, teaches us that when we ignore what our mind and heart need to tell us, the body speaks instead. When you feel anxiety manifesting in your body, instead of being afraid, ask yourself, what is my soul trying to communicate? Perhaps you need rest, perhaps forgiveness, or perhaps to stop demanding so much of yourself. Listen to the message. Honor your body as the temple that houses your spirit. Today, we have begun together this journey toward understanding anxiety as a teacher. But there is still much more to discover. Stay with me. Next, we will explore how to turn mindfulness into your most powerful shield against anxiety and uncover stories and exercises you can apply in your daily life. Allow me to take you to a Buddhist temple hidden on the slope of a mountain in Australia. The air is cool, and every step you take echoes in the silence. At the center of the temple, there is a monk who seems motionless. But if you look closely, you will notice his chest rising and falling with each breath. In his stillness dwells a power mindfulness. Anxiety is born when our mind flees the present to take refuge in an uncertain future. But mindfulness is the key that brings us back to the only real moment, this here. Now, Joe Dispenza teaches that the mind is like a muscle. The more you practice a thought, the stronger it becomes. That is why when your mind obsesses over a fear, that fear grows. But if you learn to pause, to interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts, you can deactivate the pattern. The next time an anxious thought appears, instead of following it, in a pause, breathe and ask yourself, Is this a fact or just an interpretation? You will often discover that your fears are only hypotheses, not realities. Another Buddhist story tells that a teacher took his disciple to a pond. The water was murky and they could not see the bottom. The teacher said, "This is what your mind is like when it is full of fear and anxiety." They sat in silence, and over time the water became clear. The disciple could see the stones at the bottom. This is what truth looks like when you allow the mind to calm down. The teacher explained, in your life, you do not need to fight for the water to clear. You only need to sit in calm and allow the sediment of thoughts to settle. Sigmund Freud said that much of our suffering is born from our attempt to control the uncontrollable. In Buddhism, this translates into the teaching of impermanence. Everything, absolutely everything, is in constant change. Anxiety often arises from attachment to things remaining as they are or from the fear that they will change. But when you accept that nothing lasts forever, neither sadness nor happiness, you can let go of the desire to control every outcome. Imagine a leaf floating on a river. The leaf does not fight the current. It simply lets itself be carried, trusting that the river knows where it is going. You can live this way too, trusting that even though the future is uncertain, each moment has its own purpose. Marian Rojas reminds us that when we constantly long for what we do not have or torment ourselves over what we lost, our mind becomes a prisoner of time. But when we inhabit the present, anxiety loses its bars. Ask yourself, as you listen to these words, where are you really? In the present or trapped in memories of the past and fears of the future? Bring your attention back. Feel the air entering through your nose. Listen to the sounds around you. That is your anchor. No one can take the present away from you. There is an ancient parable that says a monk was walking along a cliff when a tiger began to chase him. The monk ran until he reached the edge and unable to escape. He clung to a branch protruding from the precipice. When he looked down, he saw another tiger waiting below. Above him were two mice, one white and one black, which began to gnaw at the branch. At that moment, the monk saw a red strawberry beside him. He picked it, tasted it, and said, "How sweet this strawberry is." That strawberry represents the present, the only real experience we have. The tigers are the past and the future, and the mice are the passage of time. When you understand this, you can choose to enjoy the moment, even when fear lurks nearby. Now I want to invite you to a short practice you can do anywhere, conscious breathing with gratitude. Close your eyes if you wish, and inhale deeply, counting to 4. Feel how the air fills your lungs. As you exhale, counting to 6. Give thanks for something you have right now. Your health, a loved one. The simple fact of being alive. Repeat this 3 times, with renewed gratitude on each exhalation. This small act transforms your mind from a state of anxiety to one of serenity and gratitude. Anxiety does not live only in the mind. It also inhabits the body, like a silent teacher sending us messages every day. Tension in the jaw, heaviness in the shoulders, tightness in the chest are whispers that, if we do not attend to them, end up shouting in the form of illness or crises. Sigmund Freud stated that repressed emotions never die. They are only buried alive and come out later in worse forms. That is why observing your body is an act of self-love. Each morning, devote a couple of minutes to scanning your body. Close your eyes and mentally travel from your feet to your head. Notice where you feel stiffness or discomfort. Breathe into those areas as if you were bringing oxygen and softness there. The simple act of paying attention reduces levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Now I invite you to continue this journey, where you will discover how self-compassion can heal your deepest wounds and how small daily practices can change the course of your mind. Stay with me. The best is yet to come. Now that you have learned to sit with your anxiety and observe it, it is time to embrace yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Because self-compassion is the balm that softens wounds, the balm that soothes anxiety. Louise Hay said that we are always doing the best we can with the understanding we have. Do you allow yourself to recognize that when anxiety visits you, instead of judging yourself for feeling this way, say to yourself, I am doing the best I can. I deserve patience and care. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is understanding that as human beings, we have limits. And when you accept your limits, you begin to heal. In Japan, there is kintsugi, the art of repairing the cracks of a broken bowl with gold, far from hiding the scars. Kintsugi beautifies them, reminding us that what is imperfect is also valuable. You too can practice inner kintsugi, recognizing your wounds, your anxieties, and honoring them as part of your story. You do not need to hide your cracks. They are the doors to your authenticity. Anxiety often clings to the fear of losing what we love or to the desire to control what we cannot. In the words of Buddha, attachment is the root of suffering. Imagine holding a handful of sand in your hands. The tighter you squeeze it, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you relax your hand, the sand remains. This is how life works. When you loosen control, you find peace. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to too tightly? What would happen if I let go a little? Perhaps you would discover that you do not need to control so much to feel safe. An ancient Buddhist fable tells that a lion was sleeping when a mouse woke him by running across his mane. The lion caught it with his claws, but instead of devouring it, he decided to free it. Days later, the lion was trapped in a hunter's net, and the small mouse appeared to gnaw through the ropes and save him. The moral is clear. When we let go of our need to control and open ourselves to kindness, even the smallest thing can free us from the nets of fear. One of the most challenging situations for someone living with anxiety is receiving an insult or an aggressive criticism. It is natural to feel the impulse to respond with the same intensity. But what would happen if, instead of reacting, you chose to observe? Buddha taught that an insult is like a gift. If you do not accept it, it returns to the one who sent it. This ancient teaching reminds us that when someone insults you, they are not describing you, but revealing the state of their own mind and heart. To practice this, when you receive a hurtful comment, take a deep breath and think, this insult does not define who I am. Then imagine the insult as a burning coal the other person offers you, and visualize yourself letting it go without burning yourself. This small space of awareness is enough to respond with serenity, or even to choose not to respond. Over time, you will learn that true strength is not the one imposed through shouting, but the one that remains steady in silence. Today, I want to invite you to practice a simple exercise. Each morning upon waking, place one hand on your heart and repeat today, I choose to be kind to myself. This small act, repeated day after day, reprograms your mind to receive anxiety with compassion. not rejection. When your mind becomes agitated, return to that phrase. It will be your refuge. Joe Dispenza teaches that transformation occurs when we stop living in the emotional past. Each time you embrace anxiety with understanding instead of fear, you are creating a new neurological pathway. Over time, your mind will learn that it can experience anxiety without succumbing to it. Remember, anxiety does not define who you are. It is just an emotion that passes through your awareness like a passing cloud. You are the sky that remains. Today, you have definitely received tools to begin transforming your relationship with anxiety: mindfulness, detachment, self-compassion. But true change is born from consistency. I invite you to set aside 5 minutes each day to sit in silence. Breathe consciously and observe your thoughts like leaves floating on a river. This simple habit, practiced regularly, will strengthen your mind like a tree that grows deep roots and does not bend before the winds of worry. If you enjoyed this video, I want to invite you to continue this path with our next video, how to cultivate inner peace when the world is falling apart. In it, you will learn how to maintain your calm through life's most intense storms with new teachings and practices that will nourish your serenity. Always remember that illness is the language of the soul. And when you listen attentively, each symptom and each emotion can become messengers that guide you toward your deepest healing. See you in the next video.